Hi guys, welcome back to our episode series on cycle maintenance. Today we'll be looking at episode 2, in which we'll be looking at wheels and tyres specifically. So when you inspect your tyre, you want to be looking for a few things. You want to be looking for wear to the tyre. So this tyre is in really good condition, but on a knobbly tyre, you want to check that the tyre is not too worn down, going flat and smooth. On a slick tyre, again, it will become smooth and thin, and you'll start to see deformations in the wall of the tyre. Also, on older tyres, you may notice the sidewall of the tyre may start to crack as the rubber perishes, which again is a sign that the tyre may need replacing soon. So now I'll quickly run you through how to inflate your tyres, as you'll need to check that they're at the right pressure. With regards to what pressure you should be putting into your tyres, it is typically displayed on the tyre wall for you to look at. So on this tyre, it's maybe quite hard to read, but there is a reading on the tyre wall. So this tyre says it should be inflated anywhere between 45 and 70 psi. So you want to begin by unscrewing your dust cap if you've got one. This type of valve is a Schrader valve. There are two types of valve, equally common, so you may come across both. This valve is also known as an automatic valve, as there's nothing to unscrew or anything. You can put the pump straight on and go right ahead. You may have a pump like this one which displays the pressure gauge, otherwise you're going to have to guess. There are many different types of pumps, and how they work can be very differently, so I'd advise you get familiar with your own pump and how it works. Once you've inflated with this type of valve, nothing to screw back on. You just need to reapply your dust cap on it and you're good to go. The other type of valve you may come across is this one, a Presta Valve, which is more common on road bikes and higher pressure type bikes. So for this one, the valve is closed, and the separate part of the valve, the lower part, needs to be unscrewed before you can inflate the tyre. Once it's unscrewed, you can press to deflate some air out of it, and now we can inflate. Once you've finished inflating the tyre, it's important that you close the valve here, or air will leak out while you're riding the bike. It only needs to be hand tight, you don't need any tools to do this. You may have a pump which actually does both types of valve, such as this one here. In this instance, the grey side of the pump does the Presta narrower type of valve, with the black side of the pump doing the wider style of valve. This is obviously ideal, as it allows you to cover both bases without having to do much chopping or changing around of things. However, your pump may not be like this. There are obviously lots of different types of pumps and styles available. This pump is the most common of how it is sold to do both types of valve within one head. Typically, you will be set up for one type of valve. In this instance, it's set up for the Presta style of valve. You would need to unscrew the outer portion. Inside here, you have a little rubber spacer, and you'll need to swap it over to do the other type of valve. So with it set up narrow type for Presta, just swap the rubber spacers over, and now it's set up wider for Schrader. And obviously at the end of this, we need to put this back in, and we need to re-screw this back on. Now the pump is set up for the other type of valve. So it's a little bit finicky, but it does enable you to do both. So it's worth checking on your pump whether this is the case. So that's pretty much all you need to know about checking the safety of the tyres on your bicycle. I'll just pass you over on to Rob, who's going to talk through some wheels.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to run you through a few basic checks on your wheels using this bike here in the stand. The checks we're going to do are going to be largely the same for the front and the rear wheel. The most important one is to make sure that your wheel is properly installed into the frame. On this one here, we've got what's called a quick release style wheel. So we have this lever here. When we're popping that in, we want to make sure that that is done up nice and tight. So this lever here should be in the closed position, where it's bent in towards the bike there. This one here is pointing backwards there, so it's unlikely to get caught or snagged on any debris or anything like that. want to make sure as well that the wheel is sat nicely in the frame. The easiest way to do this is with the bike on the ground and let gravity bring the bike into the wheel. But yeah, make sure it's sat neatly in there. The other thing as well you want to be checking is actually the rim of your wheel. So the rim is this bit here that goes between underneath the tyre. You want to check the edge of the rim here, just go around, have a visual inspection, make sure there's no dents, no cracks, no kind of big scratches or anything like that. You can also get an idea of any kind of wear or damage to it there. Equally, you have the spokes here. You want to go around, again, visually inspect. You can quite easily see if a spoke's loose or a spoke is broken, but you can also give them a squeeze, work your way around, squeezing the spokes in pairs. They should be nice and tight, they shouldn't flex or they shouldn't move too much. And yeah, that way it makes sure that the wheel's nice and strong. And that should be basically all you should be looking for with your wheels. Most of it can be done with a good look over, same with your tyres, just a good glance over before you go out, just check everything is as it should be. And that kind of summarises pretty much this episode here on what to look for with wheels and tyres, and we'll go into other things in the next episode.